Here in Chester, and the battle for the World Drivers' Championship between Colin McRae and Carlos Sainz has again been dominated in the third day of the Network Q RAC Rally. Yesterday, McRae clawed his way back into contention, edging closer to Carlos Sainz with some high-risk driving. As the rally made a dawn start in rain-soaked Wales, Sainz held a slender 39-second lead with Ericsson lying third. It was battle on again between the big two.
Wales was wet. It was going to be a day when the elements would add to the tension, and mud and misted windscreens would dominate the drivers' post-stage explanations and excuses. Carlos Sainz was the first to complain of faulty demisting as he led the 131 survivors through rain-lashed Duffland. Everything is relative, of course. He covered the 13.5 miles in just 13 minutes and 15 seconds.
Oh, what was that first one like, Carlos?
It was quite slippery. We have a problem because the windscreen, heated windscreen.
Oh, the demister not working?
It's not working, and it was quite bad in the stage. So.
Then came Colin McRae in a blaze of light, single-minded and sure-footed. Despite the conditions, his average speed here was nearly 62 miles per hour. It was more than enough.
Yesterday, Colin McRae lost 2 minutes in Kielder with problems, but by the end of the day had amazingly made up over half the deficit on Carlos Sainz. And he looks as though he's going to continue to overhaul the Spaniard, because here at the end of the first stage in a very wet Wales, he's clawed back 10 seconds. Hi, how do you enjoy that, Colin?
Not very enjoyable, but the time was good. Terrible weather and very slippy in the stages. We'll get a bit better now in the daylight, at least we can see where we're going.
It's getting light now anyway. Were there many people in there?
Yeah, quite a lot of people, yeah.
Amazing, isn't it? All came to see you.
A bit keen, aren't they?
They were keen indeed, and obviously delighted that Carlos Sainz's overall lead was now less than half a minute, 29 seconds to be exact. The 16-mile Hafren Sweet Lamb stage was less appetising than its name, a treacherous mixture of mud and flood. Again, Carlos wasn't overjoyed with the conditions. He was faster by far than any of the Subaru's pursuers, but with one exception. That, of course, was Colin McRae. He averaged 60.5 miles per hour and grabbed another 8 seconds from the Spaniard's lead. This downhill stretch at Hafren is a superb sample of just how he did it. In this dramatic split-screen sequence, watch Colin at the top of your picture and Carlos at the bottom. Colin may not look so much faster, but he gained a second and a half. Of course, any rally isn't just a battle between drivers. The co-drivers always have a major part to play. Contrast the styles of Derek Ringer with Colin and Lewis Moyer with Carlos.
Over crest, tightens maybe into 4 left plus, into 6 left, into 6 right minus, and 4 left minus.
It may sound faster in Spanish, but by the end of Hafren, Colin had trimmed the gap to just 21 seconds.
3 right minus, tightens, into long, 3 left plus, opens to long.
The duel at the top was so fierce that the rest of the field were left to fight their own battles at a distance.
Into 6 left.
Kenneth Ericsson was still keeping his Mitsubishi firmly in third place, but was a full 2 minutes behind the scrapping Subarus. The Swede must certainly be looking forward to driving one of them next season. Today, of course, his task was to keep Richard Burns, the third member of Dave Richards' team, at bay. The young British star was doing his utmost to try and make it a Subaru clean sweep at the top. The memory of his Sunday problems washed away. Not that the former British champion was having it all his own way. He was only seconds ahead of the first Ford challenger, Bruno Thierry. The Belgian driver consistently clocked top 6 times and was firmly in 5th place. Alistair McRae, the newly crowned British champion, was enjoying his drive in the Ford Escort Cosworth. He certainly seems safe enough in 6th spot, with a massive 7-minute cushion over his closest challenger, Gregoire de Mavius. He'd become a very welcome addition to the Ford fleet.
We've got a fast but safe pace at the moment. We don't want to do anything silly and just keep going the way we are.
So no plans in chasing Bruno at this stage?
No, we're at the moment it looks as if we're teammates. We're the only 2 Fords left, so it'd be silly to maybe throw it off trying to catch him.
Do you think or feel that's a policy that maybe Carlos and Colin should have?
No, definitely not. No, Colin's going to catch him and pass him.
We'll have to wait and see. 18 vital seconds clawed back in the first 2 stages of the day. McRae reeling the Spaniard in, while Ericsson, many people's tip for victory on this rally, slipped further out of contention. Burns making it 3 Subarus out of 4, Thierry and Alistair McRae keeping Ford in the top 6 picture. Well, the battle between Sainz and McRae showed no signs of losing its intensity. As the rally went deeper into Wales, the fight went on.
As the rally entered the fog-bound forest of Brecfa, Colin McRae was keen to intensify the increasingly gloomy outlook for Carlos Sainz. The Spaniard had been second best to his rival in 7 consecutive stages. At last he halted the slide. 2 seconds clawed back on 17.
Nothing has changed. I think it has been faster yesterday and today, except this stage with the fog. So at the moment I'm trying, but he's pushing very hard.
So how fast are you driving, you know, in your scale of things?
I'm driving 100%. Probably not just quite as hard today as we were yesterday in Kielder. But the stages are a lot different as well. So it's a bit easier today.
But after Sainz's big Brecfa, McRae was back on the pace through the testing 22 miles of Tros-Coed. The Scot closed the gap again. He was now within 11 seconds of his teammate. Behind them, Kenneth Ericsson's hopes nosedived. Stuck in a watery hole, Mitsubishi's hopes sunk with him.
Andrew, we understand Kenneth may have a problem.
Yes, unfortunately he's gone off the road 1.9 kilometres into the stage.
No chance of recovery?
It seems not, by how the crew have described it. It's gone into a big hole. The car, they're all right. The car's not damaged, but there's just no chance to get it out.
This obviously has a major effect now on your championship position.
Well, indeed it has. I mean, it's more or less wiped out our chances of winning the championship.
His exit opened the door for a gleeful Subaru team. Richard Burns' impressive display means they now occupy the top 3 places on the rally. Belgium's Bruno Thierry took full advantage too, his Ford Escort into 4th spot overall. Thierry's eyes firmly fixed now on catching Burns in the battle for 3rd place. The McRae's twin assault on the RAC shows no sign of slowing. Alistair's place in the top 5 looking increasingly secure. His nearest challenger by now a full 14 minutes further back.
Cut, exit, hold. 50, care left tightens and narrows to medium minus. And long medium right plus over crest, 50, crest and easy left, 30.
The reputation of Italian surveyor Andrea Navarra is building. He let Rui Madeira pass him after blowing a turbo in Brecfa, but in 6th place overall, Navarra continues to lead the amateur chase. Gwyndaf Evans was pushing him all the way though. The Welshman continued to enjoy the comforts of home to consolidate the Formula 2 lead and 7th place overall.
The rally was certainly just as exciting lower down the field as the battle for Group N and Formula 2 intensified. On a thoroughly unpleasant morning in Wales, all eyes were on a local hero. The welcome in the hillside for Gwyndaf Evans was more wet than warm, but the Welsh driver was happy to be in the top 10. He was also leading Formula 2. But it was one of those days when just staying on the road was a major triumph. These forests should be familiar to a Welshman.
I wouldn't say they're all familiar, to be honest. I have to listen to Howard quite carefully. They're slippery. Obviously, it's rained very heavily overnight. They're smooth, they're lovely flowing stages, but they are slippery and quite easy to get caught out.
A rare sight on this rally, a Toyota. This one not a works car, but a Group A machine driven by the Italian Andrea Navarra. Another unusual sight in the Welsh forest, a Proton being driven by Karamjit Singh. He's been a rally driver for 15 years and was lying third in Group N. This year's ladies' champion Isolde Holderried of Germany was enjoying the water splash at Hafren, a far more pleasurable experience than the New Zealand rally where she went out on the very first stage. As if Subarus weren't having enough success, here was Japan's Masao Kamioka lying second in Group N. As if the rain wasn't enough to contend with, Tapio Laukkanen had a bizarre problem inside his Volkswagen Golf. The fire extinguisher went off after being accidentally triggered by a marshal at the start of the stage. His pace notes were soaked.
So that's a new experience for you?
Yeah, this was the first time when that happened.
So what would you say to that marshal if you could find him now?
I don't want to say anything.
You could speak to him in Finnish, he wouldn't understand.
Yeah, I know.
For once, a driver and co-driver were almost as wet as the thousands who braved the atrocious conditions in Wales today, proving once again that rally fans are nothing if not dedicated. Now the latest news, and within the last hour or so, Colin McRae has overhauled Sainz an amazing 22 seconds faster through the final stage. He's now got a 17-second lead at the end of the day. Richard Burns making it a 1-2-3 for Subaru, Ford's Bruno Thierry fourth, Alistair McRae fifth. As the cars head back for another overnight halt here in Chester, the Network Q RAC Rally couldn't be heading for a more dramatic climax tomorrow. And with your appetite whetted for world rallying, with just enough time to mention